Then they started that's reincarnations issue again, but now is totally different than before. So then the second time when they started, they still have those teams. You know, they usually have two teams. One is the High Lama team. So those are from the High Lamas from Tibet and the Tibetan area, or some area influenced by the Tibetan Buddhism, for instance, Inner Mongolia. You know, they had a selection for the High Lamas from those area. They had a group of people. That's one team. The other team is pure party member, the Communist Party member. Even the party secretary is the highest official in the convention level. So they have to have those people there. So those two groups had a meeting together. So then finally, you know, it was 19 when was that? I have forgotten. 1995, you know, 95 maybe, 95 or 96, had the emergency meeting. So, which is sometime October 11th or something. So that they call October 9th. So that's why they call 119 emergency meeting. So in that 119 emergency meeting, they called up us. That's after His Holiness made that you know, announcement for the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima. After that, the Chinese government very upset. And then I guess after 5 months or something, they had the emergency meeting in Beijing. So on this meeting, they made the three important decisions. The first decision is remove the Charter Rinpoche's position, because the Charter Rinpoche from Drashi Lumbo, he is the head of that team for the searching team for the reincarnation of His Holiness Panchen Lama. So removed his position because they said that he is a traitor. You know, he kind of showing that's loyalty to Dalai Lama, not the Chinese government. So they're upset. Removed his position, even arrested him. So that is the first decision. We have to denounce him.
They arrested
Second,
him?
Arrested, yeah. They arrested right away. After His Holiness made that announcement in sometime May or June, so then right after that they arrested him right away. So then on this meeting have to denounce him. So that's one decision. The second decision is cancel the you know, Gedhun Choekyi Nyima, who is the His Holiness version of Panchen Lama's reincarnation. So that's why this is the second version. The third one is they decide to make that's a Golden Urn Ceremony. So those three things, we have to have agreement for the common ground for the conference. So that's why we had we already received that you know, notes from Chinese government. They said they will have an emergency meeting in Beijing. So then, of course, the High Lamas, they don't want to involve this one. They try to avoid, myself as well. So we can't. So then finally they called up. Then they said, you'll go to Beijing, have a big meeting. So you have to go there. So we knew there's something happening, you know. So
these were the High Lamas living in
Tibet.
Tibet.
Living in Tibet. Amdo, Lhasa, Kham, and Inner Mongolia, and the Sichuan, Yunnan, those area. So then I went to Xining, then all the, you know, then just myself from our province, Qinghai province, which is Amdo. Then the secretary of the party, you know, so he is the highest person. He was asked to go. then we both went to Beijing. So when we went to Beijing, then we find out then we are in a very special hotel, which is which called Jinxi Hotel, Jinxi Bingguan, Jinxi Hotel, so which is a military hotel. So we had some conference before, but that is a very special hotel because the fully, like loaded armies on that door. So that's why the big gate before was, like a soldier there. Now they doubled, even four. The both side of the gate, two of them. Inside have two, the four of them. So
to intimidate, what do you think was the reason to?
So that means like that meeting is very important, and something there is everyone have to be careful. So that's the sign.
A
is
warning.
Like that's a warning. Yes, exactly. Thank you. So then we went to that meeting, and we find out some the delegations from Lhasa, some high lamas, some Tibetan, the officials, all the, that's from the Tibetan government, So some of them they call the CCPCC members, like that means the Chinese, CPPCC or something, Chinese People's Political Consultant Committee member, which means congressman, there's no power but just name, So we all there, and they said this time some of our close friend, they warning us. They said this time the meeting is very important. Everybody have to be careful. They said you can't go out on the meeting during the conference, so you can't meet people. Then even the rooms are bugged, So they're listening. You can't talk. They're saying that. So then we went there, and then definitely they said, they didn't say the room was bugged, but they said you can't go out. Just a 3 days conference, but you can't meet people. People can't come in. So that's why we thought, oh, that's soldiers on the door, because that's means
Restricted.
very restricted. Yeah. So then on this conference, before that conference, even that's had before that conference, they call us, the High Lamas, individually to the that's United Friends. There's that's Chinese called Tongzhanbu, which is the head of the lamas and those people, right? So they individually interviewed us. So then one by one. So then that depends, for instance, Jamyang Shepa, who is one of the highest lama from our Amdo region. He is the abbot of the Laorang Monastery. He was there. Then he was interviewed by the first leader from the United Friends. So then the second leader interviewed me. So then I don't know what they said to him, but when they interviewed me, then he asked me, okay, now we're going to do those three things on this conference. We make those three decisions. What's your idea? Do you agree? Like you have to agree, right? You have to say something, with stay consistent with the Chinese government, So that is the main point. Then right away I inquired a couple of things. Then the first thing said, please can you release the Arjia Rinpoche? Because the Arjia Rinpoche rested, right? So that's really a big burden for all of us. So because one day we might have some problem, they're going to arrest us. So that's why even we can't, kind of trust the government. So how come we can cooperate and work together? So the Arjia Rinpoche maybe made a mistake or something wrong, but they can, they can learn, they can change. So how come you can arrest him? So that's a little bit too much. So my request is, can can you release him? That's the first thing. The second thing, can you put the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima's name in that golden urn during the Golden Urn Ceremony? You know, I agree that's the Golden Urn Ceremony. I can't say totally, disagree everything. But the Golden Urn Ceremony I have to do. That's fine. But during that time, can you put that name back? So they canceled. That's one. Then
the one that the Dalai Lama had
suggested.
Yes,
that's the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima. So then the leader, after my kind of request, and then he changed his face. Then he said he's a very gentle person, though. He's the second leader of that bureau. So his name is Li Dezhu. So then the leader said, he always called me Chairman Arjia. Okay, Chairman Arjia. You said that, so I can understand. Because you're from different place, you don't know the situation. You're from Qinghai province, not from the TAR, right? The Tibet Autonomous Region. You're not from there. So that's why you don't know the complicated situation there. So they said that those people in TAR did a terrible job. So they kind of for traders, So that's why you don't know the situation. You say that, I can understand. However, you can't request this again. So when you ask again, you might have trouble. So then you get in trouble, So that's why, because that's frightened me, so I can't request again. Because I tried, I very kind of brave. I have to ask because I want to do my, kind of effort. So then I can't. So then finally, then I asked that one. So that was very interesting. When I come back from the bureau, I come back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Of course, they're sending us. When I come back, our the secretary of party, he's a wonderful man. His name is Ying Ke-sheng. So he passed away anyway. So he personally were a friend. So he was waiting for me there. So said, I was calling you a couple of times. You were not in the room. So I was waiting for you. So I went to that meeting in Tongzhanbu. I said, okay. So you come back. Okay, come. Then he went to my room and said, you said something in front of that leader. So you have a little bit confusion in your mind maybe. You can't do that. Tomorrow is a very important meeting, conference. On this conference, every High Lama have to agree with the Chinese decision. That's one, you can't say any different words. So that will be a big trouble, okay? So that's why I just want to try to come and talk to you and educate you. So then said, please, then even so he pleaded me, please, you have to think about me. We're all friends, so you have to think about our friendship. Say, please don't say anything disagree with the Chinese government like that. So please don't say that. Then I say, okay, yeah, okay. I will listen to you. Then how come I can do? Because that's the pressure. I know. I can't win. So then next day had a big conference. On that conference, very serious. So I have forgotten that's a big room. So what's the arrangements was, but I have forgotten. So anyway, the important leaders from the Chinese government, they're sitting there, very important position. Then both of us, both sides, one side is the High Lamas, the other side is the secretary of party members from the different provinces. So almost they made arrangements like one, cross one like that. For instance, I was sitting here. So across me is our leader. So he was watching me. So behind us is the the United Friends. So the leader of that's one staying. That's also have a different provincial level. So that's from our province. That he was sitting behind me. So that means like front of us, the leaders are watching behind us. They're like almost, if you say something, they're gonna push you, like say, don't say stop or something. Maybe that have that's a feeling, like that. So then, right in front of me, have a big cameras there. So then every High Lama have to make a very short announcement. Just say, I agree with Chinese government. That's all. So then almost, some of the High Lamas before us, they say that's, then to me, then I have to say that. I say, yes, I agree. So that's a kind of, under that's a power, there's no choice. Very, very difficult. So then, the afterwards, then all lamas had lots of reason, try to avoid that meeting. So then I said, I went to a hospital to check. So fortunately, the doctor said that you have a little bit problem with your heart because we're from a high plateau. Maybe they might have some problem. So that's the good reason. Then they say, okay, then I have to stay in hospital to rest a couple of months or something. So then, okay, fine. Then I stayed in the hospital. Then one of my friend, who is Choekyi Rinpoche, he had a problem with his knee. Then he did the surgery during that time. He was in the hospital. Then everybody tried to avoid,
The big
so
meeting.
yes. So then because they said on this meeting said we already decide to rest Chadra Rinpoche. We already canceled the Dalai Lama, His Holiness version of the Panchen Lama. So the third thing, the Golden Urn Ceremony we have to do when we don't know. They said whenever we decide, everybody have to go. So everybody want to try to avoid that events. So that's why they all went to hospital and so forth.
Explain what the Golden Urn Ceremony
Yes,
is.
I will do that. I will do that. So then, even before that, they one hand they giving this kind of pressure, political pressure, to do that. The other hand, they're giving us a very big gift, money. Everyone has, I've forgotten, maybe they give 20,000 Chinese yuan. Everyone has a gift because you have to listen to the government. So this is the kind of a little bit additional gift for you. So beside your salary and everything. So anyway, then Golden Urn Ceremony. After 1 month, then I was in hospital. The leaders from the Chinese government, they come to me and visiting me with their fruit and everything. They said, okay, now we're going to do the Golden Urn Ceremony. You all have to go. Then I say, oh, I have a problem with my heart, and then I was in the hospital. Maybe can I be excused? And then they're laughing. So you all have some problem. You have a heart problem. Choekyi Rinpoche have a knees problem. Then some other people have some different problems. But don't worry, we'll have a wonderful doctors with you. You have to go. So if you can't go, that means that's showing your, like a political version. You are agree with Chinese government or not. So that's why you have to go. So then I know that's finally we're the loser. So we have to go. So then after we all gathered together in the Beijing, Beijing hotel, which is a very high standard hotel. Then after breakfast, and then they have a special jet for just sending us to Lhasa. Then we all went to Lhasa. So when we went to Lhasa for the Golden Urn Ceremony, that's a very interesting story. We heard that's Golden Urn Ceremony, but Golden Urn, that's events, but we never seen it. We never experienced. So that will be a very interesting thing. Even before that's very interesting. We landed in Lhasa. When we landed from the airplane, we can see, the full armies, the fully loaded armies, military people, soldiers around that airport. So almost like something war going on, like that feeling, So then they gave name bags and name badge and everything for us. So they said you're gonna stay sitting on this car and you're in this room and so forth. They already made arrangements. So you're in such number of car and so forth. Then when we got on this car, so from that airport, Gunga Airport to Lhasa Hotel, so maybe 100 kilometers away or something, a little bit, 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. So yeah, on the way, almost, both sides of the road has soldiers. So almost each, I don't know, maybe each 10 meters have one person or something. Then each intersection have a group soldiers there and with machine guns and motorcycles and everything there, So very, very serious.
Very intimidating.
Yeah, exactly. So when we got in, that's the hotel. So the hotel everywhere, lobby and everywhere has lots of soldiers there. So then we had a meeting right away. On this meeting said, tomorrow we'll have this Golden Urn Ceremony. So everyone have to participate in this Golden Urn Ceremony. There's no excuse for everyone. Everyone have to go there. Then what's time, when, we don't know. We will kind of stay on tune, so we will let you know right away. So then said, on this conference, on this events, we made a wonderful arrangements. You don't need to worry anything. They said, if the Dali group, they said, the separates, the Dali group, if they do something, we will extinguish them right away. So very serious. If you have to be in our side. If you have some problem or something, including you all, there's no excuse for everyone. So then everybody is very scared, So then the Choekyi Rinpoche was telling me, so once they say that, they might have a meeting sometime midnight maybe. We have to be prepared. So then we come back in the room. We didn't sleep. We just chatting and waiting. So around 2 o'clock morning, 2 o'clock, they come and knock the doors. Like they said, okay, we're going to ready to the Golden Urn Ceremony. Then we all dressed up, and then we went to lobby. Then they have doubled the soldiers, even more. So then when we got in the van to the Gyaltsen Temple, so from the Lhasa Hotel to Gyaltsen Temple, maybe just a 10 minutes drive away or something. So the both side of the road, just side by side, the military, with that's what you call the helmet, right? Helmet, with helmet, machine gun. Oh wow! I want to take a picture, but I couldn't. I'm so scared. But they might say something. So that was a really interesting pictures, frightening. So when we got the Lhasa Gyaltsen Temple, in Gyaltsen Temple already full of people there. I don't know when they gathered there. So they all dressed up like very ceremonial clothes, like very nice clothes, monks and lay people and men, women and women and everyone there. They all saying prayers and waiting for us. When we get in, then the very serious. Every corner has some person there. I'm sure like there may be police or soldiers or something. But they don't have a gun though. They without the gun. You can't see gun. Maybe they might have handguns somewhere, maybe. But anyway, they're all dressed up and they waiting there. And then we went to front of the Jokhang, the Gyaltsen Rinpoche, like Buddha Shakyamuni, right? So then there's seats. So 3 seats for the 3 delegations from Beijing. So the 2 delegations from Beijing. One is the chairman of Tibet Autonomous Region. He's a Tibetan. His name called Gyaltsen Norbu. Okay, so 3 of us sitting on a very important chair, front of the Jokhang, the Buddha Shakyamuni. So then this side is high lamas. The other side is the government officials. Then front of that's leaders, there's arrangements for table. So there's a table. On this table has a tablecloth and everything. Then have a big golden urn, golden bumba. So that's big, very big, like this big. So then we never seen that kind of thing before. So that's why we don't know. That's in English called Golden Urn Ceremony, right? So you can't say the details. Actually, in Chinese say Jin Pin Chou Che, which means like a golden urn have stakes can shake out, something like that way. So then when you go to a Chinese temple, so there's stickers in some cap or something, then the fortune teller, you can shake out one and check the signs and like that. So I have this feeling, that's the name is same. So then we thought like doing that one. So then some monk came and they making arrangements for that. Then actually the golden urn inside have a little golden cup, like this big, like a golden cup. Mm-hmm. So in this golden cup has 3, that's what you call average, the elephant's teeth, what you call? Dusk. Yeah, average or something?
Elephant tusk.
Ivory.
A tusk. Ivory. Yeah, ivory. They have 3 ivory stick this long.
Ivory sticks.
Ivory sticks this long. So not really thin, like a pretty thick, square kind of thing. So 3 of them. So they put in one plate, golden plate. So then they have 3 names there. So the 3 names are the Panchen Rinpoche's reincarnation's anomalies, you know. So of course the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima, the Dalai Lama's version of Panchen Lama canceled. So instead they put someone else, then 3 names on it. So there's 3 names on the 3 piece of paper. They print it. They're showing that's for everyone. Then they stick on it. They put a little glue and school glue. Then they put it. Then after they glued, then they have a little cover, like a fabric, golden fabric. They covered. Those covers are very tight. They just push them, kind of forcefully covered, 3 of them. After cover, they put in that plate again. They kind of showing them for the leaders. The leaders didn't touch. They just very gently knocked door, not the hat, like okay, like they agree, something like that. So then they put the 3 of them back in the golden urn, that's cup. So because we have some distance, we can't see the details. So this side, the high lamas, like the Karmapa was there. So I remember Karmapa and the Pakpala, the Sangchin, Sandin Dorji Pamo, and the Jamya. Then the second row, I was there. So then we all there. We were pretty close, but not that close. So that's why you can't see. So then the Golden Urn Ceremony started. Then the Bormi Rinpoche, who is the head of the Buddhist Association of Lhasa, the Tibet Autonomous Region. So then he came and he did the 3 prostration to the Buddha Shakyamuni. Then he come to this cup. Then because he's back, so we can't see him, you know. So we can't see him in front. We're sitting here. He's doing something, you know, face to the Shakyamuni. So that's why we can't see him. So he finally he get one. Then he put in that plate and they showed the leaders again. So leaders like they not had again. So they opened the, you know, the uncovered the fabric. So then they said the name. So when they made the announcement, that's the anomaly is Gyaltsen Norbu. So the Gyaltsen Norbu, who is the leader of the Tibet Autonomous Region, he is making an announcement for the Gyaltsen Norbu, like a kind of a little joke, you know, like Gyaltsen Norbu making announcement with Gyaltsen Norbu, like that's okay. Kind of that's playing words, you know, people after it's like they're playing themselves, something like that. So anyway, then that was, I guess that was around 4 o'clock maybe in the morning. 2 o'clock we went to that events. So when they started, you know, there's a preparation and everything. When they started maybe around 3 or 3:34. So then after that ceremony, that was pretty quick. Then we come back. When we come back, then almost, I don't know, I have forgotten, maybe after several hours after, on TV, they're already showing that one. On TV said that two things very obvious. One thing said around 10 o'clock we had that Golden Urn Ceremony. That was not true. Why they say that, I don't know, because they think, you know, the Golden Urn Ceremony was too early, so people might think that's just unusual, right? So maybe they say 10, maybe like, oh, just the usual, maybe. So that's one reason, maybe. The second thing is when TV, they showed a very close distance. So the Golden Urn Ceremony, inside has those 3 sticks.
Yeah.
One of them slightly higher than the others. Then the Bumi Rinpoche kind of intentionally get that one, the long one. You know, he did that a couple of times. He might ask, you know, so that's why he intentionally get this long one and give to the leaders. So the leaders opened and everybody was very happy, oh, very successful, like that kind of thing. Then the Golden Urn Ceremony, after this Golden Urn Ceremony, they decided the Panchen Lama's reincarnation. So then we went to Shikaze from Lhasa. So again, that's the same thing. Oh, even more soldiers on the road, and then even we have, you know, like a team, like lots of cars, maybe 80 or 100 cars there. So then the military's front and behind, and lots of soldiers. So we went to Drashilumbo, then they have, you know, the instrument ceremony, and they just copying that's a Qing emperor, you know, like they giving that's a golden seals and the golden document and everything. So after that, the gold ceremony is over. When we come back, so from Beijing to back to from Lhasa back to Beijing. So on that special jet, so there are Chinese leader that's called the delegation of the Chinese leader. So Li Tieying, so he was there. Then the second leader is the leader of the religious department. So there's a religious department in charge that's religion, right? So that's person's name called Yi Xiaowen. So both of them on this jet, and then different people too. So then myself and the Jamyang Shepa I mentioned before, one of the highest Lama from Amdo. So 2 of us on this jet went back to Beijing. So then they said the leader gonna have a special maybe conversation with you guys. Okay, they invited us. Then we went there. Then the leader was sitting there, and then full of a smile and very happy. They said, oh, this time is so wonderful. We did everything was very successful. That will be on the history, and we all became, like on the records, and that will be on the history. So they were very happy with that. So then he started to talk about lots of history of European history and the Chinese history and lots of things. So then the other leader was making notes because the Chinese style, the high leader saying something, the other leader have to make notes because they study them or later have to some kind of thing anyway. So then he might, after that he might tired. So he just taking oxygen and taking a little rest, Then the second leader, Ye Xiaowen, who is the secretary of, the leader of the religious department,
Yeah.
he was very, pleased as well. Then he started talking. Then he said, oh, this time was so successful. So you know what? So do you notice that that's 3 sticks? One of them a little bit longer. We intentionally put a little cotton under that fabric, that's cover. So I was shocked. I can't believe I hear that. So then I'm sweating, kind of, almost I'm saying something. I hear that. So then I can't, directly watch him, look him. So I'm just kind of picking the Jamyang Shapa. Jamyang Shapa was doing something like, doodling or something there. So then I watching the Li Tiying, the leader. He was like all relaxing and taking oxygen and eyes are closed like that. Then I said, well, then I was then he had lots of conversation about that. I have forgotten though. So then he said, the 3 nominees in Tibet region, once His Holiness, they didn't say His Holiness, they said Dalai. When the Dalai made that announcement for the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima, then the situations become very tense. So we report to the leaders, the Chinese leader, the highest leader. They have like 7 people. So the 7 people is the head of the whole China. Okay, the secretary members. 7 of them almost have a 7 private jet or private something, because that's for official. So they said we borrowed 3 of them. He was showing like very powerful and very important, directly talk to the Chinese leaders or something. He was showing off that one. So that's why he said, we brought 3 of them from the 7 jet. So then we went to Lhasa and got those 3 nominees put in that 3 jet, including that Dalai's, that one. So then we fly to different directions. That's what he said. Where? Then we didn't ask. We can't ask, So he just listened to his talk. That's all. Then he said we did those things. But anyway, that's so far we know. From that place, then from their hometown, get those 3 nominees, put in that special 3 jet, then fly to different directions. Then, of course, 2 of them finally in that selection and get the Chinese version of Panchen Lama. But the other one, the Gyaltsen Choekyi Nyima, we call the real Panchen Lama, disappeared at that time. So he's saying that then after that, I was thinking that's all time. I was thinking why they leak that very secret thing.
To you.
Yeah, to me, to us. So that was my impression is, the Tibetans believe that the 3 nominees. So those three nominees representing the body, speech, and the mind. So they said once we have that selection from His Holiness, that will be the representative of the mind. So that will be the main reincarnation. However, two of them still there. So the message is, his message, Yishaon's message is, that one unfortunately can't end that one, but still we find one from the two, left two. So that's why you should support us. We're still finding the reincarnation from the three, So maybe that's only the message. So other than that, why he was leaking that's top secret, I don't know. So, but that's he's not really crazy or something. No, it's intentionally saying that. Yeah, but why I don't know. So that was the Golden Urn Ceremony. So finally, my positions are promoted. Then the message, one of the leader on that one we had, we call it Tea Party. So that's Tea Party is different than the Western Tea Party, okay? So that's a Tea Party means like the leaders have a tea party, invite all people having a tea and relax, and they will give some message, everybody have to agree. So that's always called Tea Party. So then every New Year, Chinese New Year, have a tea party for the New Year. They invite those high lamas and religious leaders and professors from universities and the famous universities. They all have this tea party. One of the tea party, one official, they told me, they said, "Oh, congratulations." Then said, "Oh, thank you. What's about?" Then he said, "You will be one of the high important Lama, okay? So you will be the president of Chinese Buddhist Association, because the president Mr. Zhou will retire. So he's like almost 90, so he will retire. Then you gonna take a place. You will be the successor. Then also you can be the general secretary of the Chinese People's Political Consultant Committee member. So why have this important position? Because you're the right person, be the the Chinese version of Panchen Lama's tutor. So yes, because my uncle was the 10th Panchen Lama's tutor. So that's why you are the best choice. So then, wow, then I said thank you to them right away. But in my mind, thinking, time to leave. There's no choice. So anyway, so that was my final decision. I have to escape. So then I escaped. Okay.
So we're going to pick up about the three
Yes.
three choices. And could you say something about what happened to the Dalai Lama's choice? Just that was, you said, flown away on one of those jets.
Yes.
What happened to him?
That's no information. So far we know just the from the three choices. His Holiness version of Panchen Lama disappeared. Until now, we don't know where's him. So the other one became the Chinese version of Panchen Lama. Then the others, I don't know. But anyway, so far we don't have any information. Yeah.
Perhaps you could help us understand why you think the Chinese picked that particular young boy as a
that's
choice.
I'm thinking, I mentioned that's a little bit. So I'm thinking two things. One thing, because the three choices, the representative of body, speech, mind, right? So unfortunately, the representation of mind is disappeared, but the two of them still there. They try to get one from those two, so that's why still kind of real. So that's showing that's one. The other thing is, I guess those three nominees. So beside the Gedhun Choekyi Nyima, His Holiness, version of the Panchen Lama, I guess he never seen that one person. So he never seen that person. So that's just from the mind and the practice and so forth. He decided. Then beside that one, two of them, they put another one, three. So from three of them, I guess now the Chinese version of the Panchen Lama is the one of the person, maybe those are young people, but the smartest one, maybe. They don't want to have some kind of person, kind of mentally maybe a little slow or something. They might say people already they don't believe, right? Plus somebody like, they will say that's not true. So that's why they try to find physically, mentally better, like that's they might think. So that's why their message is, don't worry, we'll get the best choice from those one, and also representative one of them. So that's why we intentionally put the carton. You have to believe or something. That is the message that I'm guessing. So besides that, I don't know why they saying that's a top secret.
That it was the best one.
Yeah, that was the best one. That's my saying. That's so anyway.
And you were going to be offered a job to train this best one. And what happened?
Then my position right away became very high. So my life will be very comfortable, However, that's somebody, like me, I'm a practitioner. So I believe Buddha Dharma Sangha, right? So when I practice, I respect my guru, lamas. So somebody I don't believe, and I get lots of information from those secret things, then how come I can believe that person, So that's the reason that's very difficult. Before I was in China, I have to work with the Chinese government. Of course, I kind of go between, right? So I can try to help our monastery, our local people, then also talk to government, like doing that kind of thing. Now, that's the final thing. I can't cooperate. I can't compromise. So that's the reason I decided to leave. So I escape.
It was too much.
Yeah, that's too much. I can't do it.
Yeah, it crossed the boundaries.
Exactly.
You were helping your people, the Tibetan people, by being a liaison.
Yes.
But this was colluding with them.
Yes.
To actually act as if this was the chosen Panchen Lama, and you didn't agree with that.
I can't compromise. I can't agree with that. Then I have to decide to leave. So then I decide to escape. So when I decide to escape, that is a big decision, So first of all, then I'm thinking where I should go, because I remind my teacher, Arjia Rinpoche's message. He said, he always called me boy. When I became 30, even he called me boy. But he said, boy, you turn 50, you should step down from the political stage and stay somewhere quiet and practice. So that's always he say. So then I count, and I already 48, very close to 50. So then the situation is very complicated. So then I say, that is the message from my Lama, my guru. So time to leave. So where I should go, then I don't know. I have no idea. India? So almost impossible, because I have such a high position. So if I go to Lhasa, group of people with me, So I leave them and go somewhere else just by myself. That's impossible. So then where I can go? If I go to China, I even though have a little better chance because, if I went to China and maybe say, okay, so now I have a private little, kind of little resting couple of days or something, a couple of days, that's okay. Day off or something, that's okay. But otherwise, even Lhasa, I can't make it. So that's why India, I almost can't. So then where I can go? Then I don't have a place to go. I don't know where I should go. I even don't have a passport. The Chinese government sent me to different countries and like that. But I don't know where I can get the visa. I never done that because the Chinese official, they're doing that. The so-called secretaries, they're doing that. So their job. So that's not our job. So once you have a passport, they just take your passport, go somewhere and get the visa and give back to you and said, okay, you're the team, 5 people, for instance, going to Japan, have a conference there. Okay, then when you cross that checkpoint, they will get all of them. They said, okay, that's so dangerous, maybe you can lose them. Okay, I will take care of that. Then you can stay there without a passport. Then after come back, you go through the checkpoint. They will give back to you. Then you get in. Then you can keep it. You can keep it for the next trip. So for the next, they always doing that. So that is their system, So then, and I have a passport. So then where I can go? I don't have any visas, So then I have a friend called Christine. She's my student. Then I said, Christine, can you help me? She's from Indonesia. So she speaks very good English and so forth. And then said, can you help me? I want to decide to escape. I said, really? Rinpoche, are you crazy? Or are you kidding? No, I really decided. Really? Where? What's happened? That situations are very complicated. So that's why I want to leave. So then she said, that's very complicated. If you go to a different place, first of all, you can make it or not. That will be success or not. That's the very first thing. That's very dangerous. Once you make it, then where are you going to go? Where are you going to stay? New life, so-called the cultural shock. So everything is different. So where? Then I said, don't worry about those future things. I just leave. I want to leave. That's all. That is the most important thing now. Then finally, she did some kind of research, said only one place you can go. Where? Guatemala. Why Guatemala? Because Guatemala and China doesn't have a foreign relationship. So that's why you can go to Guatemala without the passport, without the visa. So then, okay, then we go. You just buy a ticket, we'll try to leave. Then I decide to go, then 5 people with me, 5, including myself, 5, 4 people with me. So myself, I can't share this with my dear friend, my secretary. That is my true secretary, my also kind of students. So because he is a very gentle person and he's a very be careful one, careful and like a cautious one. So if I share that one, he will definitely will stop. That's a ridiculous thing. That's a naive thing. You can't do it. So then he also married. He has 2 kids or something, family and everything. So then I say, okay, I will keep a secret with him. So even still now, I feel like a little guilty. He was with me 25 years, but before leave, I even told him. So that's just the China. That's the thing happened that way. So then I told my students, Chunpei, so he with me. Then my nephew, so with me. My nephew, because my younger brother had a 3rd son. So he can have two sons, but two children, but you can't have a third one. So they have to take him out. So then I said, I will adopt him. So then that's why he became my kind of adopted son. So then I have to take care of him. Then my bodyguard, because my bodyguard is the government want to send the government, send the bodyguard with me. Then I said, no, I have my own bodyguard. He will be the person. They're not agree, but then they don't have any choice. They said, okay, temporarily you can keep him as a bodyguard, because the bodyguard in China watching you. So that's why they could be the person, their person. They have to have somebody, police or something. Then that's a bodyguard. And he just recently married, so that's why his wife, that's my bodyguard, and myself, and Chunpei, and Chinli, which is my nephew. Then 5 of us decide to escape. Then I asked Christine, please, could you buy tickets? Then online, he can buy tickets, because the only one airplane go there, which is the KLM, directly from Beijing to Guatemala. So even that's tickets from Holland, not from Beijing. So that's even safe, more safe. So then he called up. Talked to that person in Beijing. Said, oh yeah, there's a seats, but there's no tickets. Standby. Okay. So tomorrow, it's a choice. You can leave. Otherwise, you have to wait 2 weeks. Then say, oh, that's too dangerous. So because that time, I already made the reason from the conference Beijing. So remember, I said, the conference, somebody told me you will be promoted and like a big leader and so forth. Then I said, I want to take a retreat, doing retreat in southern China. I said, oh, okay. Then I left, went to China, southern China, near Hong Kong. So then I disguised myself. I prepared a little mustache. Then I wearing civilian clothes like Chinese or Japanese tour man like that. Then with hat, with dark glasses. Then 5 of us, no more monks, all like business people. Okay. Then come back and stayed in Beijing. Small hotel, not the big hotel, government hotel. Very kind of remote area. We stay in a little hotel. We contact only Christine, no one else I can tell. Then Christine was doing that ticket thing for me. Then said, okay, tomorrow is choice. You can leave. Oh, this whole night I can't sleep. Then I did the kind of research for that. That when you leave, almost 99% not a success. They will get them. So some of them they can make through, but you can't. So then I don't know how to make it with my lots of prayers. Then the next morning, 5 of us, 2 of us went to Christine, and they went to the Beijing city to buy the tickets, the office in the city. So then 3 of us went to airport. So that night is a big snow. So then big snow, because the snow has caused lots of traffic. Then we finally barely made in airport. Then because we're so afraid.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's watching me. So there's even the cameraman. They said, okay, now it's done. So that person already knew me. So that's why they making take camera, or they're taking this video or something, with camera. So I was so scared, but actually not. Then he just went away. So then but anyway, we're calling each other. So do you get this tickets or not? They said, no, we're still on the way because there's traffic. They can't make it. So then the morning is leaving, around the 11 is leaving. We 8:30, maybe 8, we already get in the airport. So then we're calling each other, do you get the tickets or not? Finally they said, oh, we get there and we're buying tickets now. Okay, great, great. Then, then we're waiting for them. They said, oh, still in traffic, still in traffic. They can't make a comeback like that. Then at least we have the tickets. We're so happy. So then that time already on the loudspeaker had this announcement. They said people going to Guatemala is leaving. So on the board, so we all stand up and preparing our luggages and everything, but we don't have any tickets. So then finally they come in. So they're sweating and they said, finally had the tickets. Once I had the tickets, so for instance, especially in the West, right? You have a ticket,
Yeah.
you have a passport, then you just take off, leave. No, in China, it's a big problem in behind there. So how to go through the checkpoint without the visa? So I was so afraid. So then that time, because the snow, big snow, fortunately, lots of people stuck in that airport, very crowded. So that time the Chinese airport, they didn't remodeled, so that's why pretty small, kind of very crowded. So people want to have that's a big crowded there. So they had to go through quick like that. So then 5 of us, my passport is very special passport because I have a very high position.
Yeah.
So I have that's diplomatic passport. So that's very, the cover is red, so very obvious. So I put my passport behind their passport. We pretend like a small team. Then I gave to the man on the checkpoint. So they finally did it in this cover. So they just stamped and they just go like that. So we went through that checkpoint. Then finally we got on airplane. When we get on the airplane, so almost all passengers there were kind of a little late, but we get there. We sit on passengers. So I never told Chinli, my nephew, he was 13 that time. So because the kids too excited and they might talk, so that's why. So we're going somewhere, but where? Then he was so excited and said, no, just don't worry. Then we all can't, we know where we're going, right? So then with lots of prayers, then the airplane, they never close the door. They just keep open. The music's on like that. Then I said, what's happening? So they already maybe find out. So in my mind, the police came and with that's what you call the handcuffs and like that, and then arresting me and lots of terrible pictures in my mind. I was so scared. So then I checked the mo. The Tibetan monks always doing that mo. I checked the mo. It said fine, no problem. But I don't know how can I trust. Then finally they said they're waiting for some passengers stuck in that snow. When they come in, they close the door, and the plane will take off. Oh, big sweating. So then, one hand is happy because we left. The other hand is sad. We left when we can go back. So the weather also, everywhere kind of white, covered by the snow. Kind of already homesick, miss home. So two of us already started crying. They were smiling, but the tears down. So very, very difficult situation. Anyway, after 2 days, we got in Guatemala. So in Guatemala also had a big kind of strange story happen too. So when we get there, so our friend called Peter. So I have a friend. When I was Panchen Lama, with the 10th Panchen Lama, I visited the Central America and South America. So I met a person called Peter. So he has a business in Guatemala. So I asked him, he sent that invitation to us. So that's the reason we went there. So then Peter was a business person, then he left, and then he sent somebody else to come and help us. So in Guatemala, they all speak Spanish, right? So we can't speak English. We're no language, like so. Then very difficult. How? Then some guy there, like shake hands. So we thought that's his Peter's friend must be, So then we're so happy. Then he was talking to the immigration officers there. So then finally, we got the visa. We got the landing visa, so-called landing visa. Mm-hmm. So then we're happy, okay. When we try to leave, so there's a military checkpoints. The soldiers there. So one soldier came and said, want to see the passport. And we have to show. Then he took them away. Oh, then we really scared. And then instead they sent some soldiers surround us with big dogs. Oh, they're so scared. And then we asked somebody there, in the Chinese people on the plane, we met him. Then what's going to happen? I don't know. They want money. Because of the corruption. They want money. If you don't give money, they might send you back. So, oh no. Oh, so scared. Then I don't know what's going to do. I can't talk. We can't communicate. Yeah. So then they just running around. After 1 hour or something, they come back. They actually were expecting some money, but we don't know how to. Even we want to give some money, I don't know how to give. That's all the soldiers around us. So finally they give back our, passport. So then we finally get in Guatemala. So in Guatemala we spend 2 months. Then what's gonna do? So then Peter said, don't worry. I have lots of friends. Maybe we can send you to El Salvador or somewhere. They said, no, even Guatemala we can't make it. Why we're going there? So then what's gonna do? Then we don't know what's gonna do. We just say leave. We escaped. Then where are we going? So we tried to go to U.S. to ask a political asylum, but we can't get there. We get in just Guatemala. That's all. So then we contact to Christine. Christine was in Beijing. Mm-hmm. So then Christine said, oh, you should contact to His Holiness. His Holiness, representatives in everywhere. Maybe Guatemala have one. Then finally she said, unfortunately there's no representative in Guatemala, but in Washington, D.C. So then I wrote a letter to His Holiness, sent to letter to Dharamsala. Then right away His Holiness talked to people in that's the ICT, right? ICT, International Campaign for Tibet, talk to them. And finally, we had the visa for U.S. after 2 months. So that time, already my visa is expired. Yeah. Then I holding that diplomatic passport, so that's why they can't give visa extension for me. If have to talk to the foreign affairs or something, foreign affairs. So then everything will be a very complicated blow up. So that's why I can't make it. So anyway, finally we get the visa and get in the U.S. That was April 28 in 1998. So after 42 years, I met His Holiness in New York. So I had a little article in somewhere, so I called laughter. So His Holiness was laughing, then ha 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 like that, and then I met him, and then we had a long conversation, like almost 2 hours. So how can you get here, and what's your passport look like? And he was interested in everything. Then we had the conversation. Then finally he said, okay, you should tell the truth, but not bad words for the Chinese government. No. I try to negotiate with Chinese government. So if you can do something good for that, that would be good. So you might have some good friends in China. For instance, the Chinese President Jiang Zemin, seemed to me you have a good relationship. You might write a letter to him. So then I say, wow, His Holiness said that I can't say no, but how can I? Now I'm, they call traitor, I left, so how come I can write back? So then I write the letter to President Jiang Zemin. So, of course, then I have to say, because the political, I didn't say political thing, I said because of the religious, like a desire, I want to practice. That's why I left, kind of so sorry. So anyway, now His Holiness want to go back. So if I can do something for that, I want to go between and like that, and then I send the letter to him. So when I sent the letter to the Chinese president, I sent this letter to Beijing, one of my friend. Then he gave to, I sent to Christine. Christine gave to my friend in Beijing. So they delivered to the Chinese president. They got them right away. They got the same to me. They said that. Then their so-called Chinese, they don't want to lose the face. So the Chinese president, Jiang Zemin, is everything made wonderful, wonderful. How come the religious people escape, So that's just a big problem, losing face, right? So that's why he want to make me go back. So then I received the letter right away, very soon. I don't know, maybe in 2-3 weeks, I received the letter from the Chinese government. So I never told my address, So that time I already, from New York, I left. I went to stay in San Francisco, somebody's house. So I received this letter. On this letter said, Chairman Arjia, without permission, how can you leave? So that's where really big surprise, something like that. But they didn't say bad things. So anyway, they said, when you leave, the Dalai Lama gonna trust you? Said you have such a high position, you have such important, mission in China. Now you escape to West. Then you lose that comfortable life and the position, high position, and your monastery, your people, your disciples, and everything. Now you're nothing. So the Dalai Lama gonna trust you? So when you come back, when you decide to come back, welcome. Anytime you can come back. So when you come back, we'll think about your position. We might keep your positions all. You can stay in Beijing. On the letter say that. If you need money, I'm assuming you have some kind of needs from the financial support. So if you need money, wherever you live, you can, wherever you're staying, you can contact our, consulate or the embassy, Chinese embassy, will have money for you. So that's letter say that, and then I translated. I showed to His Holiness. His Holiness was laughing. Then afterwards, after some time, after a year or something, I received a poem from President Jiang Zemin. The poem was very beautifully done. So on this book I mentioned, So he said the Gumbum is wonderful. Gumbum means like 100,000 Buddha. So 100,000 Buddha gathered there without you. So you might go somewhere interesting place, but the family, the hometown is most important place. you should come back. So that is his message, So anyway, then how can I go back? If I'm going back, why I leave? So my main reason, so if His Holiness can go back to China or go back to our hometown Tibet, so I can make an effort. So otherwise, then for myself, how, right? So then I stayed in West. I started a little center in California. Then I started my memoir right away because I remember all story in my mind. Yeah. Now I can't remember. Now still remember the stories from that time, but the new things, something happened now, I have forgotten. Yeah. So before I lose every information, I have to write down. So that's why I started. So when I started this book, so I'm learning English as well. So my English tutor, I have some tutors. They're asking, "What are you writing every day?" Then I have to struggle lots, and then finally they find out, "Oh, you're writing your biography." Okay, autobiography, great. So can we see it? Yes. They say, "Oh, all in Chinese," because I typed in Chinese. So then we ask somebody to translate it. When they read, "Oh, that's a very fascinating story. So can we write in English?" Then I will say, "Can do." So then by the time my English is getting a little bit better, so we had a little team, 4 people or 5 people together. They interview me again. Mm-hmm. They use that material. They ask me again. Then they describe the people, describe the story, describe the place and everything. So we rewrite this book. Mm-hmm. So then I published my memoir in 2009. So this is my little story I want to share with you.
Well, it was a wonderful, incredible story, wonderful book, and a great contribution to the history of Tibet.
Thank you.
From a personal, from an individual's experience.
Right.
Really, really.
That's great. Thank you.
Rinpoche La, is there anything else you would like to say at this point?
So I don't have anything to say, but the most important thing is we Tibetans all have a big hope, which is one day we can go back to our hometown. Then, of course, His Holiness, of course, and then High Lamas and all Tibetan people. Then go back to our town and practice and, preserve our culture and the religion and so forth. That is our hope. Yes. Sometime almost kind of hopeless, mm-hmm. But I'm still have this big hope. Yes. Yes. The big hope is the China have a big change all the time. So Chinese people are, mostly Chinese people, more and more people learning lots of things. Mm-hmm. One day, the Chinese people have a desire of freedom, democracy, and everything. So one day, China will have a free and the freedom. So then Tibetan people's, hope will success. Mm-hmm. So that is only my, kind of optimistic hope yes. We have. Yes. So then I published my book in English, in Mongolian, in Chinese as well. So then also I'm doing charity work in Mongolia. I'm building a cancer care hospital there. So that's all proceeds go to the, when I sell the book, all proceeds go to the charity, So I'm very pleased because, I can share my story. Also, I can make some merits. So then the biggest hope is one day China will free. then Tibet as well, so we can go back to Tibet. So those story, my story is the little tiny story from the Tibetan history, you know. So those are very important. Everybody have to remember. So that is my important message, you know, especially our young generations.
Yeah.
You know, they should learn that's history. They should remember that's history. Then also I have a big hope for the Chinese people from China, from mainland China, from different places. Lots of people, after they read my book, they gave me very good review. And they said, oh, they learned lots of things. They learned lots of the new Panchen Lama thing. They learned lots of the Golden Urn Ceremonies information. They said that they learned lots of 50 years, you know, hidden story in Tibet, in China even. So they have a very good feedback to me. So my hope is my little message can help others to learn something. So that would be really wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
That would be. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We ask for your blessings and your prayers
Sure, sure.
on our work, and we will certainly keep you in our prayers.
Thank you.
Rinpoche La. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
you.